Hey, what's up guys? John here, Chief Motivator over here at Method 3 Fitness. And I'm joined by Mike Saporito from Smart Habit. Mike, pleasure to have you back, buddy.
Hey, nice to be here. Thanks so much.
And Mike is going to be here to talk all about how to create great habits and how to really put self-care into your life for just better performance, higher performance, and really sustained high performance, correct?
That's the goal.
Okay, so let me give you, Mike's an incredible guy, and I really love our philosophies really align with how to really take care of yourself, both with fitness and your mindset, and just overall health. And how to do it in today's workplace, which can be, as we talk about it, a daily grind at that.
Grind being the optimal word.
Yes, exactly.
Absolutely.
Yeah, the optimal word.
Yeah.
So let me give you a quick background on Mike. So he's an incredible guy. He's a researcher and executive advisor who teaches leadership to executives all around the world. Author of the soon-to-be-released book, Reimagine Your Day, The Busy Leader's Guide to Sustainable High Performance, which I want to make sure I'm on the early bird list for that.
You got it.
The founder of Smart Habit, smarthabit.com. Which is a sustainable high performance consulting, training, and coaching firm. Some of the recent clients, GE, Google, Whole Foods, Facebook, the list goes on.
I don't know.
But a professionally certified coach and mindfulness teacher, taught at the university level. And I love this last part. Thoroughly convinced that the more and more he learns, the less and less he knows.
That's for sure. My wife will tell you, my kids. Absolutely.
So
absolutely.
Thank you for being here.
Yeah.
Mindset, as you know, Method 3, improve the way you move, eat, and think.
Yep.
Each month we do one of these, and I'm excited to have you talk about the think portion for people. And specifically, self-care is something that I think a lot of people don't take time for. And one of our digital media specialists, Nadia, actually just did a post about self-care, saying, hey, it's not a dirty word, and it's the last thing you make time for.
Right. Here's
some strategies, and I think that this talk and this video is going to go right along with that. So I really want to get your insights into that.
Yep.
So I think just first starting off with, how do you define self-care when you're talking to some of these executives and people and things like that?
Well, let's start by saying it's hard.
Yeah.
This is not easy stuff, but the payoff's real.
Right.
So simply define self-care, meaningful activities that contribute to high performance at work. But here's the thing, it can be outside of work, it could be during the workday, it could be after the workday, and it's basically how you string together these small little activities that can truly add up to make a big impact.
Right, okay, and when you talk about some of the small activities, what do you, in your experience as you're talking through and speaking with some of these groups, what are some of those things? What do they include?
Yeah, so that's actually what I'm researching right now, because it's not a new idea to take care of yourself. Mm-hmm. But what's completely changed in the last handful of years is complexity. Mm-hmm. I mean, think about work, think about home, think about your customers, think about all of the things that are going on, and then figure out how to actually take some time for yourself to show up fully. That's the hard thing. No, so to start, it's the basics. It's the eating well. It's the getting the sleep. That's where you start. But are you actually present in the moment? Are you actually directing your attention? So that's when you start going into some more of the mindfulness-based practices, which again, if you would have told me a handful of years ago that I'd be, first of all, practicing regularly, let alone teaching, first of all, my friends, they don't even believe me right now. They think I'm crazy. But partly because of necessity and partly because of the results I've seen, it's these practices, for example, the mindfulness-based meditation, has literally has changed my life. It doesn't mean I don't get stressed. It doesn't mean everything goes great. It's truly made a big impact for me, and I see it helping all sorts of people in every organization at every level.
So let's talk about just the meditation practice, because I think for a lot of people, I know for a lot of clients that come to Method 3, we enjoy the go, go, go. We enjoy the go, go, go workout. We enjoy the sweat. We enjoy the go hard.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, it's like, man, as soon as that clock is up, they're out the door.
Boom.
Because there's things to do, right? There's things to get to school, there's work, there's deadlines. And so how do you help people find this time when they already think they're out of it, right? They already think they don't have any of it, to say, I'm going to ask you to try to make time for X. And when you do, where do you start? Like, if I have 3 minutes, is that enough?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
That's plenty. So here's the thing. There's a couple things going on. Number one, there's two types of practices. There's practices that are going to get you to essentially slow down and get into the moment and basically calm down. Then there's also practices about really filling up. And I don't want you to think, or I don't want your viewers to walk away thinking this is about being calm and in the Zen state at all time.
Got it.
So there's a lot of practices. For example, there's a jump exercise. There's different movement exercises that you're going to know a heck of a lot more about than I will. But I know that they get people's body moving, and the interesting thing is how they actually shift the mindset. So you move your body to actually shift your mind. And for a lot of executives, as simple and as straightforward as that is, that's a pretty big breakthrough. Now, how do you get started? You make a choice. And that sounds really easy, but it can, of course, be difficult, because if we all were doing these things all the time, life would be great, but it's not. So 3 minutes is enough. And there's also different sorts of strategies I can share with you on how to think about your day. And the book that's coming out is called Reimagine Your Day. Because come on, who wouldn't want a little bit less stress? Who wouldn't want a little bit better performance? I mean, I'm not positioning this, and it's not easy, but it's possible.
So to recap on that, any semblance of meditation is going to count for to get the benefit. So if I have literally just a few minutes of my day, I don't have to hit this magic number for it to count. Because I think a lot of us tend to think that way. I need to exercise for this many minutes. I need to do cardio or resistance for this many minutes.
Totally. And first of all, so that's what I used to think. So, I would be an all or nothing type of person. So I'm going to learn a new skill. I'm going to learn to meditate. So I'm going to do it for an hour or a half hour. The research is actually saying that's the exact opposite approach. So start small. So there's a local researcher here at Stanford, BJ Fogg.
Tiny Habits.
Yeah, you got it. I mean, and he's done such a service for so many people around, starting small. And I think he uses flossing your teeth as an example.
One tooth at a time.
Which I'm proud to say is now it's a habit. But his point is you start with one tooth, and then before you know it, if you start showing up every day, and this goes back to how much is enough. You literally have to do something every day. And the idea here is you start to do that something, floss one tooth, meditate for 2 minutes, and before you know it, you're flossing 2 teeth, 3 teeth, meditating for 3 minutes, for 5 minutes, gosh, maybe for 10 minutes. And it's not really a conversation about 5 minutes versus 10 minutes, but that goes back to like the how. You start small, and then you start to layer in. You start to layer in some accountability, some tracking, maybe a buddy system, which I know you guys have done an amazing job with here. So those are some of the things that are really, really helpful.
Okay, and is that kind of where the gap gets bridged from what are some of these self-care practices, and how the heck do I make them into a habit?
Absolutely. Yeah, so we all have habits. There's no question about it. And right?
Some good, some bad.
Some good, some bad. And that's kind of how I think of the world. So I think of the world, it depends on the context in which you're operating, but anywhere from 20% to like 90% of what you're doing at any given moment in time is like habitual. You're literally on autopilot. So we all have these ordinary habits, and ordinary implies, they're ordinary. They're not really hurting you, but they're not so much helping.
They're not serving you.
Serving you.
Yeah.
And, we all have like some bad habits, and this is not about being hard on yourself. In fact, we actually teach the opposite. How can you be a little bit kinder to yourself, self-compassion. But it is those smart habits, those specific things that you can do, those practices that you can turn into automatic kind of responses that really can give you the lift over time.
That's incredible. And I think why I'm so glad you guys are hearing this from Mike is because it's something that to a degree we try to give all of our partners and anyone listening. Actually, that's what our philosophy is. It's like, how can you take these small steps, right? It's the small yet consistent habit changes done over time that yield the most dramatic results, right? It's not just like one thing that just all of a sudden changes. And I think there's always a lot of things that we want to do. Like when we talk about self-care, there are a ton of activities we can do for that.
Of course there are. No shortage. And
sometimes I think we all can get kind of overwhelmed with, which ones do I choose? Which ones are better? What ones do I not do? All habits I have, do I take away the bad ones, or do I just add good ones?
Totally.
And you all of a sudden have this paralysis, and so you don't do anything.
Exactly.
Because you are worried about it.
Exactly.
And so I think that the key is taking a few, heck, maybe just one.
Practice. It's a great number.
Okay.
Great number.
One practice.
I like where you're going.
Yeah, and saying, and I think The big thing, and this is probably more me saying this, and I'm saying it to you because this is going to help me, is it doesn't have to be a certain amount of time you're doing XYZ for. So meditation,
right.
I have gone back and forth with meditation myself.
Join the club.
I can't even remember how many times.
Yep.
But I think it's because also subconsciously I'm telling myself it doesn't count unless I do it for this much time.
Right.
Or if I miss a day, well, then it's all over. Right.
Totally.
And so I think there's a certain level of, and Nadia has actually mentioned this before, one of our coaches and the digital media specialist here at Method 3 has mentioned how there's a certain level of compassion you have to have for yourself and saying, hey,
oh yeah,
it's okay. Like, it's okay if you're not perfect. Like, now if that one slip up turns into 10 days in a row, well, we got to rethink how we're trying to make this a habit.
Totally.
It reminds me of a great book. I think it's The Power of Habit, Charles Duhigg.
Absolutely.
I think, yeah. Who
seminal work. Yeah. Fantastic.
Yeah, and it's so much of what you said, which is a lot of these things, these habits. It's autopilot. Like, we'll talk about, hey, clients, how can you decrease the glass of wine you have every night? And sometimes it's not about. It's just really being mindful of the practice. Because when you get home, it's autopilot to grab it, or you're cooking and you're having a glass of wine, you're chatting with your spouse, whatever it is.
Totally.
And you're not even mindful of what's going on. It just happens.
Totally.
So I think that mindfulness, that meditation, that practice can yield other results that you aren't even thinking of. So if I may, is that okay?
Totally.
All right.
And really quickly, so I like a lot of my friends, a lot of clients I work with are super hard charging, type A's, super smart, yada, yada, yada. You know those type of people. I think we should not use the word mindfulness anymore. Like I would say, let's kick it to the curb.
Gone. Okay.
It's literally like simple practices to help you be here now.
Got it.
Okay, and we all know with devices and going in 12 different directions, it's not a tough concept. So what I like to do is when I start some of my sessions, I'm like, we're not going to talk about mindfulness because first of all, people have all these weird, like crazy associations, some for good reasons probably. All right, so that's all I'm talking about when we're talking about this mindfulness word. It's literally being a little bit more self-aware and noticing so you can make a choice. And then there's some other things that we could help you with, or that if you do, you'll increase the probability of turning those ordinary habits, into the smart habits.
So I've identified these certain self-care things I'd like to move forward on or take action upon.
Yep.
How do I remember seeing this in one of your presentations. It was like a choice point model.
That's like that choice point model.
Okay.
Exactly.
So can you describe some of that? And for those of you guys that are watching, it was an excellent visual. And if you're a visual learner,
Me.
then it was really helpful to see, okay, I'm understanding these concepts. How do I start applying them? And Mike's going to have it available for download actually at smarthabit.com/method3.
You got it. Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
So you'll be able to look at what we're talking about right now, and it'll really help you, I think, along the journey.
Great. So two things. Number one, from a researcher's perspective, I work with a lot of skeptical people. And I also work with people who are super busy. So they say, Mike, number one, does this really work? And number two, they say, I'm so busy, I don't have the time to do this stuff. So the choice points model that you're talking about, it basically takes advantage of people living by their calendar. Okay, so the choice points model simply maps out your day. So everyone wakes up, right? Until we don't. So you wake up, you start your work day, you work, you hopefully shut down at the end of your work day, and most of us go to bed, unless it's maybe the weekend.
Yeah.
And basically the choice points model helps you, and it gives you a mental model to give you triggers to say, hey, you're already doing some certain things when you wake up in the morning. Like you are. You're already doing some things when you get into the office. How do you actually keep doing the same things during the day, but then you just simply replace the activity? And I'll give you an example. So again, I mentioned that a few years ago, if I told you that I have a meditation practice like I do right now, I would have told you were crazy, all right? Now, my kids go to bed every night. And I use them going to bed during this, evening period between 7 and 8 as the prompt. That's the reminder. Like my kids were going to go to bed. So instead of, running out to the family room to watch some TV, and there's nothing wrong with that. do that all the time. But instead of going right to do that or go shower or whatever I was going to do, what I started to do is say, okay, I'm going to kiss my kids goodnight, something I love doing, right? Most of us parents do. Then I sat down and I sat and I used an app. Now there's all sorts of great apps. But what I ended up doing is I took something that I'm already doing, putting my kids to sleep, giving them a nice hug or kiss, before they go to bed. And then I would sit and I literally started meditating for like 5 minutes. And the truth is, I use lots of apps, but this particular app, Headspace, I used it for like 800 days in a row.
Wow.
And what's super cool about it is that, of course, I travel a lot. So when I'm on the road, I know my kids are still going to bed, and even if I'm different time zones, it literally just starts to wire you differently, and you turn something that you already are doing, which is putting your kids to bed, you insert a practice, a self-care practice, and then you give yourself some sort of simple reinforcement, which could be a cup of water, a cup of tea, watching a show, a warm shower before you go to bed.
Perfect. And I think the key there, and just to reinforce what we're saying, is to really be successful with this in the long haul. You look at that it's a wheel that you guys will see of this choice point model, and it's choose one thing for now that you can do. The 5 minutes of meditation, where you can already place it in your day easily, and be okay with just that. I think a lot of us, we always want more and more and more and better results and the next best thing. And so, Mike said that, gosh, there's 10 things on this.
Oh yeah, it's crazy.
I might as well do them all. I'm going to get 10 times the results.
Totally.
So, and that's how, I mean, some of us brains will go there a little bit.
All the time,
it's
all day
hard
long.
to stop that process and be and tell yourself, hey, let's master this one thing, knowing that I'll get phenomenal benefit from this one thing. And that at the end of the day, what's better? One thing done really, really well to obtain the benefit, or 10 things done poorly.
Yeah.
So awesome stuff. So in closing, I want to ask you, our philosophy is kind of aligned. There's this, we talked a lot about self-care and how to put it into your day, wrap it into your day, start the process with one habit at a time.
Absolutely.
So what can our partners watching this, and just anyone else watching this right now, what can they do to start this process and really achieve what it is kind of we're talking about, which is this overall wellness of improving the way you move, the way you eat, the way you think, so they can live stronger for today?
Yeah. First of all, embrace the mess. Life is messy, life is complex, and literally that first step is to be you know what? Yeah, life can be hard. And life can be great. Business can be great. Customers can be great. There's all sorts of great stuff. But first of all, embrace it. Life can be a little bit messy. After you do that, what's something that you do as small self-care practice that you've done before that's kind of felt good? It was 3 minutes, 5 minutes, whatever it is. And for me, it's I love jumping up and down. I went through this whole big rebounding thing because I love getting the energy, right? So you pick the one thing, and you commit to a process, okay? Now, it doesn't have to be some real extensive process. It can be. That's great. And frankly, it doesn't matter what process it is, but have some sort of a plan. A process is a geek speak for having a plan. And then the other thing I really suggest is get with some other people. It could be one person. You can call them an accountability partner, accountability buddy. I know you guys do an awesome job with that. And do something that's fun. Have some interaction with some other human beings. There's some great ways to use some apps and some social media and tools. If that works for you, great. If not, it's totally fine. But basically, embrace the mess. Buy into some process. Get started with one practice and make it a human thing. Make it a thing that John and I are going to work on, and you're going to hold me up, I'm going to hold you up. We're going to see what works. We're going to experiment. We're going to try something else that doesn't work or works and see where it takes you.
Cool. Awesome. Well, I really appreciate your time, Mike. I hope you guys watching got some phenomenal tidbits of information. There were a lot of golden nuggets in there. And just to reference it again, if you guys go to smarthabit.com/method, then the number 3, Mike will have that choice points model available for download, so you guys can reference that and think about what the one thing you're going to move forward with today to create a smart habit.
Yeah, start small, but start today.
Thanks, Mike. Appreciate it.
Thanks so much.